Welcome to the family with
Michael Bryant
and Andy Brant Bernard.
no question. Mike Gelfand had a little family business to take care of today, so he will not be in today. But Michael Bryant, of course, steps in as he always. Tom, you've got trouble in your life. Let me step in and fill the void.
Because I was silenced on Monday. They wouldn't allow me on Monday to talk.
Silenced.
That's
exactly what's probably true in some cases, but it's just. I have a question for both of you guys.
Sure.
Is this getting worse, this political crap getting worse? Because it sure feels like it. People are taking these very definite positions, and if you don't agree with them 100%, then you're a horrible person. What is that?
Well, I mean, there's a number of issues that have come up that have been, I don't know, that have been a little bit dubious. You know, the big thing I've been talking about, or I've been blogging a little bit about, is the pardons. Both
Right.
pardons, the pardons, the
we're just pardoning everyone.
Yeah, the pre-pardons, and then the pardoning everybody for January 6th. And that's been an interesting thing to look at the history of pardons.
So pre-pardons, so a president can just declare someone immune to federal law?
Yeah, I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
The very first pardon there ever was George Washington pardoning everybody who's involved in the Whiskey Revolution or
the Whiskey Rebellion. Yep.
And so that was a pre-pardon, and it also was a group pardoning the way he did. And if you think about it, the Gerald Ford pardoning of Nixon was actually a pre-pardon because he hadn't been charged yet.
No.
So there's been a history of pre-pardoning people, which seems crazy that you would just go, but you're still can be charged under state law. So there are state attorney generals that can be sharpening their swords right this minute for the Biden family. And then alternatively, the pardoning of everybody in January 6th, the thing I hadn't realized until I got deeper into it, do you know he also pardoned himself for what he did on January 6th, if he did anything? And, you know, but by doing that, by pardoning everybody, he pardoned himself in that deal also.
I don't understand how they can do that. I didn't think you could do that.
Yeah, well, it's presidents have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, the pardon system I'm not super fond of.
But it's actually in the Constitution. So
it is.
It's a power.
It's one of their powers, but it's a very strange one.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of override the law like that.
Right. And I thought if you're handing them out, just give me one. You know, who knows when it might work.
Yeah, get out of jail free card. I might commit a federal offense in 20, 30 years, and I might need that thing.
Might go drive fast at a VA.
The only time I ever had to appear in court, I was 19 years old, and wasn't that big a deal. I think I got fined like $40 for whatever it was. I don't even remember what the hell it was, but
probably don't need a pardon for that.
No, probably not a pardon for $40. But I will never forget. I was in court. The courtroom was packed, and other than the judge, I was the only other honky in the room.
Oh.
And it actually was a great moment because every time he brought up something negative about me, they all started laughing. They thought it was hilarious. Like, ha, ha, ha. It's like, yeah, thanks a lot. You guys are going to jail. I'm going home. Shut up.
When my partner was a law clerk many, many years ago, the day he started, about a month before, the judge he worked for in Ramsey County had granted lenience for somebody who I think had killed cats or done some kind of thing to animals. And the judge just got hammered for it. He got a whole bunch of letters back then, got, telegrams or whatever else as far as the tax goes.
Right.
And so Joe's first day, some guy came in who was throwing rocks at the tiger at the St. Paul Zoo.
God.
And it was like, dude, sorry, it's the wrong time to come see this judge because things are bad for you. And that guy got hammered. Just, it depends on when you're in there,
I suppose that is true. It all depends on that whole deal.
Yep.
Do you think, and I guess I have a feeling about it, but I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. I think the hatred in the world is at an all-time high. I mean, even during world wars, people are just mean but is that because their meanness is available to everyone? Back in World War I, World War II, you didn't know if they were because they had no way to communicate it. Now, you sit down at your computer and you pop up on social media and you hate everyone. It's God.
You can see a lot more that you couldn't see before. And we get news immediately on what's happening here, what's happening there. But, I mean, people have been killing each other and killing each other for God or for their government or for whatever reason all over the world for forever since the first caveman picked up a rock,
It was so great. I just thought of something. I've been in court twice in my life. That was the first time was when I was a teenager. And like I said, it was like a $40 fine. Wasn't that big a deal. The second time, and obviously I won't say who, but a friend of mine was in court being sentenced to jail for something or whatever. And I will never forget turning to Catherine and looking at her going, he's going to prison.
Yeah.
She goes, why do you think? I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I look over my left shoulder, and this very large deputy sheriff is standing right next to me. Or I'm sitting down, he's standing. But he's just standing there right next to me. I went, uh-oh. There's an indication that he's going to prison because they want to make sure that I don't have a fit about it or whatever, right? Is that why they would do that?
Yeah, there's a number of reasons. But yeah, when they start closing in like that, when you're in the criminal trial and the judge looks up at the bailiff and the bailiff starts moving towards the client, things ain't turning out good here.
Yeah, I mean, it was so obvious, I guess, because I had heard that, growing up in North Minneapolis, I had heard people in court going through the same thing. It's like, man, you're in big trouble, and they start closing in on you before they've even made a judgment. It's like, yeah, I suppose that's true.
Well, what's interesting is during the Chauvin trial, when they were giving the sentence, a whole bunch of federal agents showed up because they were going to take him into immediate custody for federal crimes if he wasn't convicted. So there was like extra federal agents in that courtroom when that decision came down. He was found guilty, so it didn't matter. But they were all set to just grab him and take him up down the street.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just everybody's got these. Look, everybody has a different opinion, but now, boy, if you don't have the same opinion I do, you should be banned from the country. It's like, would you calm down? Why is everybody so whipped up right now?
Because I think it is more that we see stuff and it's so immediate news. That's probably
true.
That it's not different. It's just, I just think it would be funny if somebody, because of the election, moved to Canada and then we took over Canada. Wouldn't that be like?
That's a great point. I moved all the way to the Panama Canal and they came and took that over too.
Yeah.
I think that's so hilarious. That whole thing is. Why did we ever give away the Panama Canal?
Well, I mean, Panama Canal was involved in a whole bunch of international negotiations. Wasn't that? No, that was the Suez Canal.
Yeah, Suez Canal. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Panama. I don't know as far as that goes. I don't know off the top of my head.
Why would you give away something? The American taxpayers paid every dime for that thing, and then you, as a government official, decided to just give it away.
Yeah,
you should not be allowed to do that.
Did we get free access as a result?
That I don't know because I've never been near the Panama Canal. Have you ever been anywhere near it?
I don't think so. Not that I can. No, I have not. So,
no, I just
the closest south I've been is Juarez. That's the closest.
Now, I do want to get your word or your thoughts from both of you on TikTok.
Yeah.
So now TikTok, it did come back, but if you're not already a member, you can't join it.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's what I was told this morning. So I don't know. Andy, would you check and see if you weren't already on TikTok, now that it came back for at least now, if you weren't already a member of TikTok, you cannot join TikTok.
I wasn't aware of that, but
I wouldn't either.
I know that you can. It's back up again. I just think it's hilarious because a number of years ago there was the whole Chinese are flying balloons over the top and TikTok's controlling it and you get rid of it, and then suddenly it's a good thing now. So,
well, we kind of talked about this morning on the morning show that yesterday it was horrible, but today it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yep.
Why'd you make some money from it? What do you got, Andy? Anything good?
People thought that it wasn't working, but it was just they were doing something wrong.
They weren't operating it properly.
Registration seems to be open just fine.
Unlike that smooth Tom Bernard app, you can just get on like that. No
you just pop right on the Tom Bernard show. It's going to be unbelievable. And
my TikTok position is 100% always been just to leave it open. Just, the whole thing of throwing people off and doing that, I think you want to hear what they're saying and just do it. Don't worry about it. I mean, what's the difference between China having all our information and say, I don't know, Elon Musk having all our information?
Yeah, everyone has everyone's information. That's the thing. Yeah. It's all out there.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can buy it from anyone else. It's not worth very much money. I'm sure there's information brokers out there who paid 50 cents for your entire file out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I kind of agree there.
Yep. I have the COVID tracker in me, but I already had a cell phone that was tracking me. So,
Yeah, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you. I'm on right now. I'm on Facebook and X, but I've heard that TikTok is much more friendly than those two spots. Is that true?
Well, TikTok doesn't allow advertising in the same way that you can do advertising on the others. So there are differences that way. TikTok, is more of a video thing. I know a lawyer down in Miami that uses it for getting cases concerning cruise lines, and it is amazing. I mean, he's able to put together a TikTok in like 6 minutes, put it up. And I was on one with him, and it had 2,000 watchers within a day. It was amazing.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not. I got to be honest with you. Facebook is kind of fading in the Dandy.
Well, it depends on the age group.
Yeah, it's
suppose,
definitely like younger people are not using it.
Yep, that is
But
correct.
pretty much every older person is. So
they are
by
still
older. I mean, I don't know, probably like 50 and up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's doing the whole thing MySpace did and just fading away.
Well, they all do. They all will. I mean, by the time Ethan's an
Yeah.
adult, TikTok is going to be for old people if it even exists. So think about that.
Was that a Saturday Night Live bit when a guy showed up on set doing I don't know, they're doing some kind of bit about whatever. He goes, I think it might have been Alec Baldwin, maybe even, or Danny Baldwin, that said, I am much happier now because I just joined My Face.
Oh, yeah,
My Face.
That was a Baldwin.
I think it was a Baldwin. Yes, it was very funny. Do people? Okay, now I'm very, very serious about this because my whole life has been avoiding, getting too serious about anything with comedy. But people aren't really into laughing it up and joking around anymore, are they? Things are just way too serious to be joking around about them.
Yeah.
No, I think comedians are getting big crowds now, and
I'm talking about the average person.
yeah, I think laughter is still a big part of people's lives. I hope so. If it's not, why the hell even do it? Why not just go suck on a exhaust pipe or something?
Exactly. What's your take, Andy?
I mean, I think things like Saturday Night Live are just, they're bought and sold. So they're not really about comedy. They're about pushing something. And there's a lot of things out there like that. I mean, look at pretty much every news source out there. They're all about pushing something, whether it's a product or a point of view or something like that. So, I mean, I wouldn't go to big things like that because it's too profitable for them to sell out, which is why like stand-up comedians, it's kind of difficult for them to sell out until they get really huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't really like the huge ones anymore, because they pretty much all have done that.
And they're not funny anymore. That's the big problem.
No, they're not. Yeah, the last big, like really big name special I watched was Melissa and I watched the Dave Chappelle special that came out like 4 years ago or whenever.
Right.
And it was just not good. He was just bitter and political, and all he did was complain. It was just horrible.
Yeah, and obviously, going all the way back to the beginning, being bitter about stuff worked. Well, what the hell was that comedian's name again? He's a brilliant comedian, but he was a big drinker and he got involved in some drug stuff too. But he was very, very funny, but he was very negative as well. I keep thinking his name is Leonard Cohen, but it's not.
You're talking about Lenny, not Kravitz, Lenny Bruce?
Lenny Bruce?
Yeah, Lenny Bruce. There you go.
You're describing like half of comedians, but
that's true.
A comedian who drinks?
Yeah, he got into alcohol and then he got negative. Yeah, that's there's a few of those.
He was funny though. Lenny Bruce was incredibly funny, but he's the first comedian I can think of that went really negative. And it actually worked out for him. But actually, I think it was so stressful, it literally killed him.
Mm-hmm. I saw some the other day. It had Carlin Rickles, Gary Schindler, and Shandling, and Rodney Dangerfield. And it said, if you could watch one last show from any of these four, who would you go with? I'd go with Rodney. But it would be an interesting group, on any one of them as far as their show goes.
No question about it. One thing about Rodney Dangerfield is really interesting is off set or off mic or whatever, he was a completely different person. He was very serious in person.
Was he high?
Yes, I think that's probably true. I just found out that Joan is still alive because what did you say, Andy? She was like 35 years younger than Rodney?
33, I think. Yeah,
33 years younger,
he's
yeah.
70, I believe.
Yeah, she would come on the show and read jokes that she found in his pocket. Well, you remember those days, Michael.
Mhm.
But I mean, Rodney Dangerfield, can that ever happen again?
Rodney? Oh, sure.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. I don't know, like the excess that some of them had. Like I was watching a clip the other day that Chris Farley would go to Ruth Chris, get 2 cowboy ribeyes, and on every single piece put a little piece of butter on it and go, it needs a little hat before he ate it.
That's not how.
Oh my God, 2 giant cowboy ribeyes and what, 5 sticks of butter?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a different deal. There's no question about it. But I just, do you think, because, things are so touchy right now, and it's so easy for people who've never met any of them to judge, that guy's evil, but the other guy did the same thing as not. It's like, why do you think that? You don't know them. You've never been next to them. Whatever happened. I suppose Elon Musk is I've never talked to Elon Musk. I've never met him. I don't know anything about him. This Nazi salute thing. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. And blah, 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 blah. I was like, Jesus. I don't know what to tell you. I've seen it all. And they sent me videos. Pretty much everybody in comedy has done it at some point.
Well, but there's a difference between, people waving, that his clip is very different than just somebody having their hand up waving and getting.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, I'm sure, I've done raise the roof, and you could find one with my hand up like that, but that one, when he goes to the heart and then goes out with it, it's like, it was a bad call, whatever it was. Whatever
you say,
was.
I give my heart to you.
My heart goes out to you.
My heart goes out to you. So did Hitler say that when he was doing the salute? I doubt.
Well, he said it in German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Yeah. Hitler had a certain view on, he had some people he liked.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them,
I suppose. I just
like Germans.
I really wish people would stop digging deep to find things that they can hate. I don't want to hate. I want to go on social media and laugh and read funny stuff and have a good time. I don't want to hear about your politics.
There's a difference between digging deep and finding a tweet somebody did 40 years ago or 20 years ago, or I guess tweets wouldn't be that old, but 10 years ago, and something somebody did just yesterday or what is on Monday. It's, I don't know. It's, and arguably he's not a guy who's been in public lots, so he might, I don't know, might be awkward in public. There's some things.
I think he's a very awkward man.
It just
I do too.
An odd deal. And
God, look at Zuckerberg. He's one of the most uncanny behaving people out there because he's all he does is tech stuff. All he's doing is building Facebook and running the business, and he was never socialized quite properly.
Yeah, it's just odd that the way some people are given mantles of greatness, and the reality is they're good at what they do, but it's like they have lots of gaps because they're human.
That's how everyone is.
It's just settle down.
Look at celebrities. I mean, people are good at acting, so people act like their opinions matter on everything.
Yeah. Or they don't. I mean, lots of opinions I hear from them, I'm like, it's no different than, I don't know.
Well, but a lot of people would. I mean, a lot of people, if a celebrity says something, then it's truth.
Well, they do sell a lot. I mean, that guy who wrote the book on the sidelines, he sold it went to #1 in the New York Times sales after just seeing him reading on the sidelines. It's like, wow, that's, I guess, product placement,
So what was the book about?
I think it was a book about, I heard it. I'm trying to remember. I think it was about it was a self-help book, I think, or it was about anxiety. One or the other, I think, but I'm not positive. Who knows? So, but it's #1 in the New York Times, or was last week or right after the game. So it's amazing how many people would just go and buy that book. Okay, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah, that's how it is. Well, that's how Oprah became a quadrillionaire.
That's true.
She said, buy this book, and everyone bought this book because she said so.
I wonder how many people read those books they buy.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not many. They put them on the shelf so you can see it very visibly when you enter their home. So you know that they're buying the right things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the books that are stacked up in here. I didn't even know what this book is, but I'm going to. Oh, I can't.
The Karma Sutra.
Never mind. The camera's on top of the book, so I can't move the book. Well, here's one. Oh, here's a book right here. What does this say? Oh, this has been around for a while, I would think, if it's what I'm thinking it is. This is a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, that's a great book.
See that? Now that's a book you should read right there.
Yep, that's a really good book.
Those are the kind of books that I'm interested in now because I think in order to keep your sanity, you're going to have to put something between you and a lot of people, don't you think?
No, I mean, if you worry about those things,
Well, no, it's so negative, and it's like, oh my God, let's have fun. What is the average male in America now lives to be about 72 years old, right?
Sounds right.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I already passed that by. My goal is now to see as far as I can possibly go beyond when you died. I'm not you two. I'm talking about the average American male.
Oh.
Why don't you stay alive a little longer and have fun? Because once you're dead, that's it, pal.
No, you have no idea what's next. That I know of.
Exactly.
So,
That's exactly right. But
no.
I just think, has it always been that people do love to use negativity when they feel inside their hearts that they've failed?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of insecurity or certain amount of just like that people are envious of others that comes out as that negativity versus just being happy for people's results and being happy for themselves and doing their best that way, I guess.
That's all I'm looking. Do the best you can. Enjoy your life. You can ask Andy. I reach out to my family all the time, all 3 generations. I adore my family. I adore Catherine. She gave me this great family. Why does anybody ever talk about that? Because they don't have it?
Yeah, some people do. Some people don't have it. Some people have different shattered families. Some people have, different parts of their families. But you're right. There's too many people that are looking outside versus just looking in and enjoying what they got and being where they're, where that makes a difference.
Well, I mean, on average, if you got 72 years, why don't you enjoy it rather than being pissed off all the time?
You'd think it, you think that, and I mean, there's lots of studies that indicate the more anger you got or the more anxiety you got, it shortens your lifetime.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Off your life. So,
that's why I only hang out with guys like the two of you, because you never piss me off. So, I'll live a lot longer. You know what I'm saying?
Only bring joy to your life.
Well, joy, that's the exact word that I was thinking. Yeah, no question about it. But I write about that quite often on social media, how I have this wonderful life that I pictured when I was, 6 years old, whatever it was. I just wanted to live this great, and I've been in the record business and the radio business and the voiceover business, all these other I've had a wonderful life. I'd really like to bitch and piss and moan, but I can't. I got a great wife, great kids, great grandkids. I've had a wonderful career. I busted my ass, don't get me wrong, but I got a lot of help from a lot of really good people.
Oh, you want to.
And then I also went through a period where people tried to destroy all of it. And they did destroy some of it. That's the part I don't understand. So a kid from nowhere with nothing made good in America, and then you went after him and destroyed some of his business. Why would you want to do that instead of going, look, kids, if he can make it, anybody can make it? That'd be a better way to go about it, don't you think?
I think there's some people that have that message. I mean,
they do, yes.
all the time that, praise you for the way you feel about your mom, the way you take care of your family, the way you care about things. There's been times when you've cared deeply about Minnesota sports. And so those are all things that, people admire out there that I hear all the time about you.
Really? See, I don't.
Oh, you do too.
No, never. No, it is. I don't know. It just, wouldn't you? And Andy, I mean, I guess I'd be talking to you. You're the youngest guy in the room here today. You pretty much try to look at the better side of things. You have a great wife and great kids and all the rest of it. You live in a nice home in a town that you love. And why don't they try to strive for happiness rather than I'm miserable? Because if you feel miserable, you are not going to succeed. I will tell you that. If you feel like you're not succeeding, you will never succeed.
People don't want to succeed. They want attention and pity.
They
want pity. Pity's a big part of it.
Yep.
You agree with that, Michael?
Yeah, I think there are some like that. I mean, there's people who are fearful of succeeding. They don't think they're worthy, or they don't think they're capable of it. I've been reading about a couple of books right now that are dealing with the issue of, how people can achieve things and how much like success is really hard work. There are certain things you can't do. I'm never going to swim like Michael Phelps, but
me and you both, pal.
Right. But there's lots of things you can achieve by just really working hard about it and, not accepting no and going forward. And it's weird how these different areas, we've had success out of these little pockets around the world, and they've tried to study why did suddenly a bunch of tennis players come from here, or why suddenly did a bunch of actors come from here.
Yeah.
And it's just little things that made the difference.
Yeah, I'm really happy you said that. It is not the big things; it's the little things that matter. Because the big thing is going to come after the little things, so you got to make sure the little things work out, and then all of a sudden you're going to go home. Look, I do wake up still, and Andy, you and I have talked about this before. I don't know why I was so lucky to get the life that I've had, but I wanted it. And, I think I worked hard for it. I don't hang around with, pains in the ass people. God, I just gave you a compliment, Mike. That really hurt. Complimenting you was painful.
Well, how many years did you wake up at 4 a.m? How many years did you spend pouring stuff in your ears so that you could, clear everything out every day? You spent a lot of time in what's weird is you don't really prep for stuff, meaning, I guess, but you did so much to prep for what you were doing to make yourself better.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah. The biggest thing that ever happened to me is when I was in 10th grade. I was called into the, what were they called? The counselor's office, I guess. It was a high school counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, Tom, seriously, we've been following you and I have talked many, many times. You may as well just leave school because it's not working for you and you're just not going to succeed. Wow. He actually told me as a 16-year-old kid that I would never succeed.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was 18, I already had succeeded far past where he was. And I did mention that to him the next time I saw him. Why do people think it's their job to tell you, you can say, hey, look, Andy, Mike, you need to try harder. You need to get after it because you got the ability, you got the smarts, you're a good guy, but you got to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the way they take it. It's like, oh, you're going to fail. It's like, why would you tell that to a kid?
Yeah. What's sad is probably the whole group of kids out there that accepted that and thought,
yes,
okay, I'm never going to get better. So why try? So they turned to lives that were, they not what they could have been because of that lack of support or that lack of just at least some help. I had a teacher. My mom was an English teacher. I had a substitute teacher. We had to write a paper, and he actually called my mom went into my mom's room and asked her if I was mentally disabled. The R word, So back then,
you don't hear that anymore, do you?
Yeah, you don't really hear that. But she's like, no, I don't think so, and it's like, yeah. So he did not have high hopes for me. So,
but and you could maybe answer this question. When I look at people say, oh, man, why did this happen? Why did that happen? But I look at the people, you and Mike Bilski and Mike Lindell. And you go down this long list of people that, Jim Paul's a big supporter. Welshire, I've known them that people support me. I don't know how I got so lucky that that happened.
Well, the more important thing is the people who support you, that are listeners, which, that's the reason. That's a start on why a number of those people came into your life to begin with, was to reach those listeners. So there's a huge group that supports you or that listens to you that makes that big difference. Yeah. And then, you've also made it a point of making sure you knew who you're working with as far as advertising goes.
That's true.
So, it wasn't just any fly-by-night group that showed up. And, I think there's other places where they last, short time. Where radio, you got to do it for at least a year to make it work. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that is to be successful is blend that jingle into their head. So,
yeah, that's pretty much the deal. So moving on, did you see this Ryan Seacrest story?
Ryan Seacrest, no.
I won't read the story, but I'll read the headline. Andy, have you seen it?
Nope.
Ryan Seacrest got knocked over by a winning contestant. The guy charged him to hug him because he won big, won a lot of money or whatever. And as he ran into him, he knocked him down.
Wow. Isn't he like 5 foot something small.
Yeah, he's not big at all.
He's a little fella.
His build height is 5'8".
So
I don't know
5'6".
if I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is he hosting?
That was on Jeopardy, I think.
It's Jeopardy?
He's doing game shows now.
Oh, I think it's Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so what happened?
Let's see. Yeah, because I'm looking at pictures. He is, I don't know, maybe 2 inches taller than Vanna, and she is not tall. So, I mean, I don't know.
So Vanna's still on the show, huh?
She is. She's still on there. I don't think she's that old.
I thought she was going to end up being the host of the show after he left, but
she's 67, and she's been on it for a long time.
My receptionist was on his original talk show that got canceled.
Seacrest?
On Seacrest's original talk show. And she sang, it was on with Brittany Murphy. That's how long it ago.
Oh, yeah.
And that never aired. So she's never been able to see herself singing on that show. And I've tried to contact Seacrest. I've tried to contact people in Hollywood to try to get somebody who has that tape.
The network is the only place that you're going to be able to get anything from. And good luck there.
Well, now it's been so old. Who knows? Probably
it's probably decayed away.
It was on Memorex.
I should mention this here too, by the way, that Mike Elfand is got some business to take care of, so he couldn't be on today. That's why he's not on the show today. But now that you mentioned Wheel of Fortune, remember how he won the show but lost the big prize? Andy, do you remember why he lost the big prize?
From top to bottom?
Yep, that's exactly right. Very good. From top to bottom. You would think it'd be the easiest thing on earth to read.
No, just don't have the letters.
Just didn't have enough letters, I guess.
Yes, I'm looking at the pictures of what happened to Seacrest. It was a large fellow with a very enthusiastic hug.
Oh, no.
And Seacrest got knocked flat onto the ground by this guy.
That's terrible.
So, yeah.
Have you ever been almost knocked over by a listener?
No.
Okay.
I've been almost knocked over by my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. You got to remember one thing, Mike. Even though right now I weigh at about I think like 235 or something. I used to weigh 315, so it'd have been pretty hard to knock me down. I would think. Maybe now, but that's still. I mean, 225, 245, somewhere in there. It's still going to be pretty tough to knock him over. But I don't know. I've never talked to Seacrest. I don't know him. Never met him. Any word on him? Is he a halfway decent guy? Is he just a pain in the ass?
He's supposed to be okay. I think he gets along. I haven't heard anything bad.
So that's cool.
I was in high school and I was walking down the driveway with my grandfather and my brother suddenly decided to give me an arm shiver. And so I went from vertical to flying sideways through a bush. He just bent. I remember my grandfather just screaming at him, like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm laying over in a bush, So
what was he doing? What did he do that for?
It was steroids or football or whatever.
I suppose. Yeah. I suppose that might have something to do with it. But okay, I am not going to read all of these, but I want you to vote on the top 10. Okay, is that okay with you two?
Sure.
All right. The site, what does it say? Taste Atlas, I guess it is. Ranked the 100 grossest foods in the world. Now, 100, like I said, I'm not going to go with 100 grossest foods in the world.
Number one's probably going to be surströmming, if I had to guess.
What is it?
Surströmming.
What's that?
I think it's just a fermented fish from Sweden, maybe.
So it's worse than lutefisk?
It's one of those things.
That's a nice way to put it.
I believe it's a felony to open a can of it on an airplane.
Oh,
that's
really?
how bad it is. Like, it will literally incapacitate people because it smells so bad.
Wow.
So that's got to be at least in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the top 10 sound pretty gross, and Nordic countries dominated. So just what you were saying, Andy.
There you go. And the Icelandic rotting shark thing, whatever that was called.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that's called, but it's got to be up there too.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the top 10 grossest foods in the world. Number 10 is artichoke salad in Greece. They boil the artichokes to make them tender, then cut them up and add lemon mustard. Well, that doesn't sound bad.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It does.
I love
artichoke. Sound bad
artichoke.
at all.
I know.
But apparently it averaged just a 2.2 stars out of 10, so people don't like it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Number 9, sour curry made with fish entrails.
Oh.
So they're internal organs.
I'm never going to be eating entrails if I can afford it.
Yeah.
It is a traditional dish in southern Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the ramen burger. It's the only American one in the top 10. A chef in Brooklyn came up with it in 2013. The buns are made of fried ramen noodles. That wouldn't
Sounds
be that
pretty
bad.
good.
Yeah.
It sounds extraordinarily unhealthy.
Right.
Probably true, yes. Okay, we're starting to hit the home run era right here.
Okay.
The number 7 is jellied eel.
Jelly anything. Oh my god.
Or eel anything.
No,
eel can be okay.
Eel can be. Unagi is actually pretty good.
Oh, that's true, unagi. Good point.
Stuff.
They're an old school street food in England dating back to the 1700s. The flavor is described as unique
Oh, I bet
Yes.
it's very unique.
and unpleasant. Chapolele is Chilean bread made with potatoes and flour. That doesn't sound bad. What?
Chapolele.
It's spelled Chapalele.
Dumplings or potato bread. It just sounds like dumplings.
Yep.
What's
How
gross
is
about that?
There's nothing gross about that.
Huh.
We've gotten to the top 5, and these are going to change the mix right here. Number 5, deep fried silkworm.
Oh yeah, I think that's Chinese, right?
I wonder what that tastes like. I did try that just to see what it tastes like.
Seasoned with salt and pepper, they're popular in Thailand, Andy. So yes,
Oh,
it's
Thailand.
in Asia.
Close.
No, it's in Asia. Yeah. Uh-oh, this is going to be a problem for most Minnesotans. The number 4 grossest food. What?
Lutefisk.
Well, it says here Swede.
Swede. What the hell is Swede?
A half of a sheep's head.
Oh,
Michael took that well. Michael
Half
took
of it,
that-
like, how do you cut it? Like down the middle, like so you got like half the
you
brain
just kinda
showing.
eat
Or?
out that brain.
It's an Icelandic dish. Yeah, it looks.
Yep.
It's cut down the middle like
Wow.
this,
Oh,
and they just fry the entire thing whole. There's eyes and teeth.
Yeah.
What?
it's like you get fish with eyes. I'm not a big eye guy.
Singe. They cut it in half. They singe it to remove the fur, and then they just boil the whole thing.
it's a traditional dish in Iceland, right?
Yes, I mean, like I've never been a medieval peasant, obviously, so I can't say for sure how I would behave.
Right.
But I feel like if my choice was to eat that or just like let the good Lord take me, I think I'm going to pick the latter.
No.
I understand.
Boiled entire sheep's head. Life's not worth living at that point.
Number 3 is Karlsgrove, a calzone stuffed with French fries and full hamburgers, including the bun. Why is that gross?
Yeah, why is that bad?
I mean, I think you'll feel very gross
Right.
after you eat it. Ugh.
Sounds like something America would come up with, but it's on the menu at a restaurant in Sweden.
Yeah,
Sweden.
I don't.
I
Think
mean,
it's
it would.
bad.
Yeah, I think it would be the kind of thing that you could like share with your whole family. Just order one of them, and then
Yeah.
it's
Cut it
probably
up.
good.
We got to the top 2, the 10 grossest foods in the world. Number 2 is blood pot.
Well, I can
Dumplings,
guess what that is.
dumplings soaked in reindeer blood.
Ah,
Ish.
yeah, I don't-
Delicious.
yeah. And is number 1 going to be those twins hot dogs? Remember those hot dogs?
Nice. Well, maybe. You never know.
Oh, they were horrible.
By the way, the blood pout is Swedish and Finnish. But the number 1 grossest food in the world is, let me see, Sweden and Finland again. Scandinavian countries got nailed in this
Well,
one.
I mean, when you're frozen 6 months out of the year, I mean, they've been inhabited for thousands of years. Can you imagine trying to survive in that country in the year 500 BC, middle of winter? You got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. Blood pancakes made with onions, spices, and reindeer blood.
Yeah.
They're popular in Sweden and Finland, but the average rating from tourists is 1.6 out of 5 stars.
I wonder if that's a mental thing or it's the taste of them. If just the idea of having some blood in it.
Blood used to be a very popular food
Yeah.
for a long
Really?
time. It's
I didn't
only
know that.
recently that people have decided that they don't want to eat blood.
Well, but
and I don't want to eat blood either. But
When you eat meat, I mean, you have blood in the
Yeah.
meat.
yeah, but it's not like the main course.
No.
It's like, when you eat meat, you eat fat.
Mhm.
But would you want to just like eat a bowl of lard?
No.
I probably would not either.
No.
I'm surprised Kasu Marzu wasn't on there.
What's that?
It's cheese that has live maggots in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's also illegal
Oof.
for obvious reasons because these maggots, if you don't chew them properly, they can survive into your intestine and then burrow into it.
Oh.
Yep.
Ish.
Kasu Marzu. It's one of those things that I could live to be 10,000 years old and I will never try it.
Yeah, I don't. Maggots smell so
No
bad.
maggots. No maggots for
They
me.
smell horrible.
Yep.
All right, Andy, I think you already addressed this morning, but I got to read this headline. iPhones with TikTok installed are being listed on eBay for $25,000, but you said you could still get on TikTok, right?
Yeah, I think that's gone down. I would say that was a one-day thing, maybe.
That was a one-day deal.
Oh, wait, apparently TikTok is not available on the App Store.
Oh,
so
why?
You can download it on Android, but not on the App Store.
Huh.
Why would the App Store do that?
I don't know, because Apple is Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Apple is Apple, and I don't know. It's an interesting world right now. That's all I have to say.
What about the whole Bitcoin thing? I mean, Trump made millions of dollars, and now apparently the wife has done that too, and they don't even have to say who gave him the money. It's like crazy.
Oh, they don't?
No, there's no disclosure issue with that because it's not
not real money.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't know how you'd buy something like that. I don't understand.
Well, does it have any real value?
Who knows? It has the value that people put on it,
I guess.
So
I don't understand that Bitcoin thing. That's been floating around. Who started that whole thing about 20 years ago or something?
We don't know.
Yeah. It was a big resurgence, I guess, of it. You don't know who started it?
No one knows. It's someone who goes by a pseudonymous name.
Really?
But I give you real money so that you can give me this other money back. It's like, I think I'll keep my real money.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. It said that Bitcoin was invented by Michael Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
Who could that be?
If I'd created Bitcoin, I don't think I'd be sitting here.
You don't think you'd be in the show?
Yeah, this would not be my alias,
You might be right. There's no question about
that.
But
I would hate to be down in that snowy, wintry north or south that we have going on.
Oh, you mean in Jacksonville?
Oh, my God. They had 8 inches in Pensacola.
I know,
and 10 inches in New Orleans.
I was on a CLE continuous legal education thing on, I think it was Tuesday, where the speaker had to leave because they were shutting down their building in Atlanta because of like an inch of snow or 2 inches of snow.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what. And again, you try to make a joke these days, and people get pissed off at you, which I don't know. Because I did post this morning. Well, you guys made the right choice. We got very, very lucky because of, they only got 10 inches of snow in New Orleans, and you can thank global warming because they would have gotten 200 feet. And I thought I made it very obvious that I was kidding around. People went after me for that. It's like, Jesus, it's not called global warming anymore. It's called climate change. It's like, oh, God, whatever.
I'd like to see 200 feet of snow.
200 feet of snow in any city. Well, that would be what, about the Fauché Tower?
Right.
Let's see. The most snow ever on Earth. Let's see. The winter of '98, Mount Baker got 1,100 inches.
Oh, God.
So that would be 95 feet. So that's halfway there.
There's been some winters here. We think we have 200 feet. When it snows in October and never leaves.
Yep. We haven't had one of those in a decent amount of time.
Yeah, that is true.
It's just gotten extremely cold this year. So cold that it can't snow.
But we always get like a week or 2 weeks where we have this kind of cold snap, and then it goes away, and then we feel like 30 degrees feels like it's summer out.
Yeah, absolutely.
50 years ago, 1975, I moved to Jacksonville, Florida to go on the Big Ape, WAPE, the Big Ape. We never even came close to getting any snow when I lived in Jacksonville, I'll tell you that. I think Georgia was about the closest place, and it was northern Georgia that got the snow that I can remember. So what changed about this? Why did that area get so much snow? Do they know?
Oh, it's just like, this is one of those like once in every 10-year cold snaps, I think, that just, it swept through the nation and just chilled everything like 30, 40 degrees colder than it's supposed to be. And it only lasted a little bit. So that's the perfect recipe for snow, is like it drops very quickly and then it gets warm again.
Well, didn't we have within the last 5 years, we had a year where it snowed in every single state in the country. And that was the only time that had ever happened, if I remember correctly.
That it happened this year.
Did it happen?
It must have.
I don't think it happened in Hawaii this year yet. I don't think.
Oh, has it ever snowed in Hawaii?
Yeah, that was the
mountains.
crazy thing was every state had snow that year.
And what year was that?
I want to say it was in the last 5. I still
Okay.
just have a problem with COVID years. I don't know. It's this. It could be easily 5 to 10 years.
Let's see.
Yeah.
2010. It looks like all 50 states had snow on the ground. That would be at
15.
least 2 inches.
Yeah, that was 15. Wow.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 2010, 15 years ago, every state had a little bit of snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling this year's going to have it too because, last year snowflakes fell in every state, but that's not quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
No, that would not be the same. Yeah, I know we only got a couple of minutes left on the show, but I'm hoping, I really am trying to be very positive here. I am hoping that people will calm down and stop attacking each other on every little thing you say. It's like, would you settle down? Look, just because you're not clever and can't come up with a good line, it's not my fault. You know.
That is true.
You think that's part of it, that they just don't like the fact that, well, this morning I was asked on social media, or everybody was asked, not just me. On social media, there was a post, what is the very first thing you do every morning? And I just put down pee.
You open your eyes.
Some people get all pissed off. It's like, it was a joke. Good God. Why can't some people have fun? They're just so miserable. Is that what it is?
Well, you never know where they are in life or what's going on with them. So who knows?
No, you don't.
Yeah. But there's a lot of them now. There are many now, more now. That's probably because of social media, though. So you know that everybody's pissed off.
I mean, I've always done my best to not care because these people, I'll never meet them. I'll never talk to them again. They're just irrelevant blips floating around out there. Why should I care what they think?
Yeah, you find yourself interacting with 100 people every morning that you never had to deal with before.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh.
So I don't know. We'll see. So far, I'm having fun, and it's like I just ignore I don't have anybody going at me too hard or anything like that, or blah blah blah. But I think the things that I get on social media that I understand is I can't remember, either it's Trump or Biden or Elon Musk that is the worst human being on earth, because in different spaces they say, it's like, would you calm down?
Well, it's like a Megazord. I think Biden is the leg, and then Elon Musk is the arms, and then Donald Trump, he's the body.
So who's going to be the head, though?
They form a big robot of who can be the worst person.
I don't know. I mean, it'd make you wonder who is actually the worst person in the world.
Alive or ever?
Right now alive.
Now alive.
It would depend if it's a body of work or just doing something absolutely horrible right now.
Yeah,
there's sexually abusing.
Yeah, there's
now,
people who kept kids in dungeons, and that's I guess it depends on how you look at it. I don't think Biden or Trump have ever done something like that. So,
no.
But then you could argue it's like their policy affects more people, so that could make them worse in some regard. It gets very philosophical at that point.
No, yeah, absolutely. I don't know that any of them have, such darkness in their heart that they're
right.
They support a certain position. And some people just disagree with that position and the effect it has on people.
I think the bad part of that is everybody's a tough guy when they don't have to face a tough guy.
Yeah.
Everybody. What's the quote? Everybody's tough guy until they get punched in the mouth or something like that.
Exactly. Well, I've been punched in the mouth. Now, Andy, I want to close with something here. We only got a few minutes left, and we did get a 50-minute show in today, which I'm proud of you guys.
No problem.
Who would have thought it?
It came up on this morning show, and I did not know this. Remember when Demi Moore's mother used to come into the show about once a year for a couple of years there? You remember that, Andy?
Demi Moore's mother?
Yep.
Demi Moore's mother. She smoked about 20 cigarettes an hour. I do remember that.
Virginia King?
There you go. She used to come on the I think it's Virginia King. I don't remember her name, but I do remember she was a very nervous person, and she would literally have to get up every 10 minutes and go smoke a cigarette. I found out from Kristen Burt this morning that she, at 16 years old, when Demi was 16 years old, her mother sold her for sex.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, I never knew that. Did you know that? Anybody?
No.
I mean, you sold your own 16-year-old daughter. Oh, that woman's dead now. Obviously,
Wow.
later than smoke.
Who'd she sell her to?
Some guy, I don't know, 16 years old, and some guy bought her for sex, and her mother sold her to the guy.
Wow.
Mother had a long arrest record, drunk arson, biological father abandoned their family and then died of liver cancer. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff in that family, apparently.
Talked to her about the arrests and the alcohol, but I don't remember that being a story. Well, then I sold her for sex,
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh God.
Wow.
I mean, you learn things now. It's just, can we continue with social media being the biggest thing out there? Because everybody's got a voice now, but they don't have to answer for anything they say. One thing I did learn growing up in North Minneapolis is you can say whatever you want, Tom, but you're going to have to answer for it.
Right.
Those were much better days because everybody wasn't such a smart ass back then or a tough guy. Because when you had to answer for the things you said, it was will we ever get to a point again when you're going to have to answer for everything you say? Probably not.
It depends. I mean, in the future, things like AI technology might get good enough that people can be identified by the way they type. Or the things they say.
Oh, sure.
There could be bots out there. You could crawl someone's entire social media feed and piece together who they are based on little clues, because people always leave clues. They'll talk about like, oh, I live, 50 miles away from Houston or whatever, and there's a big clue right there. They'll say, oh, I'm, this age, my sister's this age, and it doesn't take many of those to get a profile of someone.
No, they can take pictures and pull out like what watch they're wearing or what's on the wall or what time it is or all those type of things and pull out this extra information. I was listening to this podcast where there are people taking their side of a case, putting it into AI and having AI come up with what things they think the defense will do against you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's scary because I'm good at what I do, but I'm not as fast or as smart as a computer.
We're going to end up with the two AIs predicting each other. AI A predicts B's next move, but then B predicts that A is going to predict B's next move, and then it's going to become a paradox. But I'll be as quick as I can with this story because it's relevant and I think very funny. So you said people like, they're identifying people based on what watch they're wearing or whatever. So have you heard of the "He Will Not Divide Us" campaign that Shia LaBeouf did like 8 years ago or whatever?
Oh yes, yep.
So Shia LaBeouf had this camera, and he called it "He Will Not Divide Us," and it was just like in the middle of New York or something like that. And people were supposed to go on front of the camera and say, "He will not divide us." He being Donald Trump. So it was an anti-Trump thing. But of course, because it was a camera in public, all people did was troll it, and they'd put up swastikas and communist sickles and say things horrible. So what eventually happened was that he kept moving it to more and more remote locations, and eventually turned it into just like a flag that he flew. So he flew it at the top of like an art gallery, and someone climbed the building so that they could scaled the walls so they could take down the flag, because it became like a game of like who can steal Shia LaBeouf's flag thing. And eventually the last thing he did, it was a flag on a wall in an empty room with a webcam pointing at it. And that's all it was. People deduced the location of the flag based on the shadows the sun was making through the window on the left. So what happened was they knew where it was, like the longitude, because the sun, we know when sunset is, so it's got to be in this area, and we can see the shadows are coming from this direction, so it has to be this latitude. So someone went over to where they suspected it was and just drove around honking their horn until someone could hear it through the webcam. And then they identified the location of the flag based on that.
Wow.
So if you think you can hide from that sort of thing forever, unless you have no information about yourself out there online, you can be found. So just know that.
That also tells us there's a lot of people who spend a lot of time doing some really
dumbass. I cannot imagine the amount of effort put into stealing that stupid ass flag. But
maybe I could close with, and I tried to tell some people this off the air this morning, that I don't hate Donald Trump. I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't hate all the way back to George Washington. Never met George, but I don't hate him. Why would you waste all that? You can not like somebody, I understand. But hatred takes way too much out of you. I don't know why people do it. I will never understand that.
It's like a great man said, let the hate flow through you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Emperor Palpatine.
There you go.
Always impressing me is people who you listen to their story and you think they could hate and they don't. You know,
That's what
whether
I'm
it's
saying.
you killed their kid or something horrible that happened to them, and they don't have hate in their heart. Those are the people that are the most impressive me, because they could hate easily and quit easily, and they don't.
I got to get the name of the show from Catherine. It's a British television show. Catherine, I watched the first episode last night. This cop is called to a mortuary because a young girl has been murdered, and he's talking to her, blah blah blah, and there's a blanket over the murder victim and all the rest of it. He's trying to get all the information. He walks over, pulls it back, and it's his daughter.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, this show's looking. It was very intense. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Really good. Very well acted. British television is damn good.
It can have some good things if you can understand it. Every once in a while, one of those shows, it's like I need closed captioning because I don't have any idea what we're saying right now.
Catherine and I use closed captioning on because we're like, like what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember the name. Hey, Catherine. She's not around now. She's probably sleeping. But yeah, if you get a chance, it's on BritBox. We just watched, I guess, episode 1 last night. I don't know the name. I think it's a brand new show though. And it's a one-word title. Andy, is there any way you could check and see about murder mysteries on BritBox? One-word title, brand new show.
Dad finds his kid.
I can try.
Oh God, it was tough. I mean, once he finds out it's his kid, it's like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
And the claim of the doctors is that she killed herself. She hanged herself, but then the cop doesn't believe it. And got anything, Andy? Be pretty tough, I suppose.
Is it Happy Valley?
No, it's not Happy Valley. It's
a lot of people are watching that right now, though.
They are?
Oh yeah, that's like huge.
Huh?
I think that's one that they're watching a lot of. I think.
There you have it. Oh, you know what? I'll find out what it is, and we can talk about it tomorrow or whatever. Who's in tomorrow, Andy? Do you know?
I believe Officer Dave.
Okay, he is coming in.
I think so, unless he's busy. He's in the chat, so he'll let me know once
that's true.
Stream catches up to the audience.
Sounds good to me, because Michael wanted to know if we should come in today, come in tomorrow. I just answered you can come in both days if you want.
I got work.
You got nothing.
I got work to do.
You'll represent someone.
Yeah, I got a client that calls me like every couple of hours with complaints.
I do not. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Every time I hear the same reminds me how you talking.